Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Simple Money Guys podcast, where we make money simple for you. I'm Greg, and as always, I'll be joined by John and Ryan. Join us today as we discuss some of the most essential money tips that'll help you take full control of your financial future. If you haven't yet, please give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at the Simple Money Guys, and please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts. It helps us a tremendous amount. So, guys, big news in the tech world these days. A couple big things. How about Facebook rebranding and shifting their focus from social media to the Metaverse? What do you guys think about Meta?
People cannot stop talking about the Metaverse, blockchain, crypto, so many different things, Web3, whatever you want to call it. I just think it's super interesting to me, and I think it's super interesting to a lot of the younger generation and entrepreneurs who are super, super smart. Like, I recently listened to a podcast it was Tim Ferriss. Who else was on it? Naval Ravikant, and a few others, I think. And they were talking about Web3, the Metaverse, and I was like, I am sold. Like, I'm ready for it. Like, this is it. And so I do think it'll take, 10, even 20 years to actually become what we think it'll become, but I think it's the future. Like, people are really bullish on it, and I kind of am too.
I have been all in on the VR, AR, mixed reality metaverse for a while, so I'm very excited to see that Facebook is shifting their focus on that in general. So it's very cool to see.
Does it worry you at all? Like, have you seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yeah, I mean, I think to some degree there's always that fear of new technology and everything, but the advantages it brings to your day-to-day life and the professional life, it's just so significant. Well, here's the thing. It's obviously not all going to be Facebook that, takes the point with this Metaverse.
Bro, Meta.
It is
Microsoft,
Meta. Microsoft is going to be huge.
Into it. Nike is investing into
exactly. it. Exactly. Apple's going to be as well in the future. I'm sure they are to some degree. I know a small, very low-key purchase Apple made within the last year that tells me they're interested in it. Like I said, I have an Oculus headset. There used to be this app called Next VR, and essentially what it lets you do is sit courtside at basketball games, football games, concerts, and Apple actually bought them for, I think it was $1 billion.
Wow.
Under the table, just snatched
just
him
a
up.
small purchase of a bit.
That's going to be huge, because now instead of 100,000 people or 50 or whatever, you can have 1 billion.
Yeah,
you can have
exactly.
infinite amount of people tuning in.
I know Apple's going to make a play for it as well. What I end up seeing is, even though Facebook says they're moving away from social media and everything, I see them being the metaverse of the social platforms, like people maybe hanging out or whatever, Apple being the everyday consumer, and then Microsoft being what Microsoft has always been, the business professional. That's going to be, I see it as sitting in a board meeting or whatever with multiple different people all throughout the world. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I see Microsoft doing and doing very well.
I saw a tweet real quick. It was about the Microsoft Metaverse. It said, instead of spending 16 hours a day in Excel, you can spend 24 hours a day in Excel with the Metaverse. But I just think I think every smart person is gravitating towards, every smart company is gravitating towards the Metaverse. So I just think, like, it's something to be reckoned with. I mean, it's almost giving us the .com vibes in the early 2000s. So,
what can someone define what the Metaverse is?
I think it's essentially a blending of virtual and reality, where there's no distinguishable difference between the two. That's how I've always viewed it as, and when I always say that's the next big technology I've been passionate about, that's what I was always inferring to. Now, Facebook's definition of metaverse might be a little different. It might differ from company to company, but that's how I've always viewed it.
Okay.
I mean, think about like Fortnite. Like, you're in another universe and you're playing as a character essentially, but the metaverse kind of just takes it a step further, where you're actually like immersed in it, where like everywhere you look around, you are in the metaverse, but it's still not going to be I guess, reality. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what actually the metaverse comes to be. So,
Because I saw a video of Zuckerberg in a conference call remotely,
right.
and he could like see like other people that he was in the meeting with, and they looked similar, like they looked like cartoons of each other, and they were in a call, and like every movement that they did was the same. So it was pretty cool to see that, but at the same time, it's like if you're remote, do you wanna be in? I mean, do you want to be in a meeting like that? Like, if you're remote, you like I don't know that that's better than maybe it is. Maybe it's better than traveling to be on a call, but or in a meeting. But I don't know if you're remote. Like if I'm doing a remote job, I don't want to be immersed.
Well, you take video calls anyway, right? So it's like taking
Yeah.
a video call, but the next evolution, the next generation of
Yeah.
video call.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see. You guys know I've been super passionate about this, so I'm just getting all tingly and excited just hearing about it every day. And I'm interested to see who the winner of the metaverse is going to be. If you guys had to take bets, who do you think it would be?
It honestly could be a company that we've never heard of, but I'd be willing to bet on Facebook or Google. I think Google has a big resource to play with.
I would
Yeah.
say Facebook or Apple, probably. I would think.
Sure. Yeah. And what's interesting, actually, Greg, anyone who's listening to this right now, if you haven't listened to Tim Ferriss's podcast, episode 542, they talk in depth about Web3, the metaverse, blockchain, NFTs, like everything like that. I promise you, if you listen to that episode, you'll be convinced. You're like, okay, this is like, it's inevitable. This is the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like 2.5 hour long episode, but it's so worth it.
I actually we should do an NFT episode sometime soon. Bring on an expert, because it's something the more I hear about, and you know me, I've never been too crazy on crypto happening like very soon. But NFTs make a lot of sense to me. So I think it's a really cool concept that we can, or technology that we can have someone on to talk about.
Yeah. I think NFTs, this doesn't have to be an NFT episode, but I think NFTs got a bad rap because it was like the speculative art where you just like buy and it's a crypto punk and it's worth like $10 million for no reason. Like, it gets a bad rap for that reason, but NFTs are so much more than just art or just music.
I think right now that's all it is, but I think in the future the applications are just limitless.
Literally, yeah. It's crazy.
I don't know if we want to go on a tangent, but do you guys think we're in a bubble?
And see, that's the thing. It's like we may be in a bubble with like crypto punks or like the Bored Ape Yacht Club or whatever it is, with those types of NFTs. But NFTs in general, it's such a broad term. I think those are here to stay. It's more of the like application. I think those crypto punks are going to go down eventually. Like, it's not going to be like no one's going to be buying
everything
those
is going up. I mean, the stock market is crazy. Real estate's going crazy. Crypto, I mean, Shiba coin, like come on, like that shit
Shiba
makes no
crazy.
sense. NFTs, like
I think
everything is doing well. It sounds like a bubble.
Yes, it very much does, but I don't know when we'll see any change until maybe there's a change in interest rates, which kind of catalyzes a big change in events and forecast. But for right now, yes, it feels like it does very much feel like everything's overvalued. But where else are people going to put cash? You know what I mean? No one wants to hold cash right now. So we'll see what happens. I think we've talked about this in an episode too, kind of recently. Like, yes, everything's overvalued, but where else are you going to put your money right now?
Right. Mm-hmm.
The Fed has to raise interest rates for this I think they're going to have to.
I think a couple big things. The Fed needs to stop buying assets. They need to raise interest rates just to kind of counter everything that's been happening. Because if you look at the forecast for this past year, I think like Goldman Sachs, S&P, like they all expected single-digit returns in the stock market after the crazy year we had last year. And then we're up, what, like 20, 30% on the year already? So
we just need to wait for once politicians start selling off. That's how we know a crash is coming.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Got that insider info.
God.
Yeah.
But even
Don't
what's
even
crazy
get
is
me
like, like Tesla specifically is popping off as well. I mean, I think a while back they did a stock split, and then now it's like it went to like 600, and then now it's all the way up to like $1,100. Like they are hitting all-time highs again, and it seems like every single year Tesla's hitting all-time highs. So it's just crazy. Like is Tesla in a bubble? You know, we don't know.
Are they? So
let's talk about Tesla, guys. Let's talk about Tesla a little bit.
I don't know. I think Tesla, if you look at their cars, they're incredible cars. They really are. They don't really need much maintenance. The engineering on them is top notch. The batteries are top notch. They have home batteries. They have roofs. And everyone wants a Tesla. Who doesn't want a Tesla? It's like Apple. Everyone wants Tesla like they want an iPhone. And they're years ahead of any manufacturer.
Yeah.
And the demand is incredibly high. And Elon, I think he funds, that SpaceX and a lot of his companies with Tesla. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know that I see Tesla. I don't know that I see Tesla crashing. Well, maybe it does.
Here's the thing. Let me first preface this by saying and you guys know this, I invested money into Tesla when I was in college. And during that first crazy run-up they went on, before, like pre-split, I sold half my Tesla shares. And then, like right after they split, I sold another half of my Tesla shares. So if I never sold Tesla shares, I probably wouldn't have to work anymore. But that's aside from the point. Now, Tesla is valued currently, right now, at a $1.2 trillion market cap. It is sixth in the country, behind Amazon, and ahead of Facebook, Nvidia, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Visa, Johnson & Johnson, amongst many other huge companies. Their past earnings, they did $13.7 billion in revenue. Now, if you compare that to other car companies, for example, the parent company of Mercedes did $40 billion in revenue, and Ford did $36 billion in revenue, which is so high compared to what Tesla's actually earning. Tesla's forward PE ratio is like 170, 200. They're trading at what seems like, it really does seem like an insanely high valuation for a company.
Yeah.
Do I see it crashing down? I have no idea, but I definitely see them, they're the sixth highest valued company in the country when they're making money that should put them somewhere in like the, 300s, maybe 400s. That's kind of scary to think about that.
I think it's based on their potential. I agree that they probably shouldn't be worth this much, but I think they're going to be worth, like in the next 10 years, with the way we're going toward electric vehicles and sustainable energy, things like that. I think they're going to just take over the market. I think they're going to own like so much of the car market that they're going to be. I don't know. I just feel like they're so ahead of everyone that they're going to just like they're just going to be so like all these companies are going to have to take a loss to even compete with Tesla.
Yeah, but I feel like right now they're trading at a value that accounts for all that. Like their value right now,
you think so?
Is like 5 years Tesla dominates everything, which is fair. Like, the market always is going to anticipate things. but like a couple of missed earnings, or all it takes is another rival company coming out with Mercedes is now coming out with their electric S-Class, which I don't know if you guys have seen, is absolutely beautiful. It's one of the nicest electric cars I've seen. I mean, granted, it's $120,000, so it's not catered to the same market that Tesla is. But I don't know, right now it's trading, I feel like Tesla is trading at the valuation of what you're saying, where it owns the market. It's definitely trading at a forward looking outlook, whereas it just takes a couple of things to change that. But it's almost become, I think I'm a little upset because I used to love and believe in Tesla stock, and now it's sort of just become this meme stock that I just don't know what to think about it anymore.
Well, like you said, I mean, so many other car companies are doing the same thing as Tesla now, like Audi with its e-tron, the Mercedes like electric, Rivian. I don't know if you heard of Rivian.
Yes.
And they're a new, like the new Tesla essentially.
They're backed by Ford, actually.
Yeah. So it's like all these companies are trying to do what Tesla's doing, and I wouldn't even say that Tesla's going to own the market. I just think they're going to be a big player, obviously.
Yeah.
I think there's advantages and there's disadvantages to being like the first mover, essentially. Tesla was the first mover, so they captured a lot of the market share.
Yep.
But a disadvantage is like, Rivian could notice or view all the problems that Tesla has and make it better, essentially. So there's so many variables at play. Like, it's hard to even say. Like you said, Greg, it's like hard to even know whether Tesla is overvalued or undervalued.
Yeah. And it's like sort of when you're the first to explode onto the scene, you can only lose your lunch money to other people. It's hard to gain any more market share than you already have. So, I mean, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking, like, think of when Netflix first came out. And it seemed like Netflix was going to dominate the streaming industry. And now there's just so many players out there. Now everyone has entered the streaming industry. Yeah. And, it's hard to say that Netflix is the definitive leader at this point. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm not saying Tesla's going to be exactly like Netflix. And again, I really still do believe in Tesla. It's just at this valuation, it's hard to justify. I think I'm also, again, a little salty that I sold 75% of my share.
So many dealerships make 35-40% of their revenue from service, from taking a car in for maintenance. Now, Teslas don't really require much maintenance at all. Electric vehicles don't. Well, good. Right. Teslas don't. So, do you think these other companies are going to build cars good enough to where they don't need maintenance? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to build them good enough to where I think stuff is going to break still. And you're still I think they're going to depend on that. I don't think they could take a 40% loss and still compete. That's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I actually don't know enough about Tesla ownership to know, like, I'm sure there's some costs of things have to. But what I see, and I think Tesla has already moved towards, which I think is a great idea, is Tesla is starting to offer, or they started a while ago, Tesla insurance. Instead of going through a company, going through Tesla.
Yes.
And sort of like what Apple did with their iPhones and Apple Care.
Yeah.
I could see just all, car companies moving towards, you just pay a little bit more per month and any coverage you need, we got you in the electric industry.
The other market we're not talking about, consumers driving their vehicles. Tesla has autonomous driving too. So in a world where everything's autonomous, now you're talking about them starting a ride service, taking over Uber, right? Like, oh, let me call a Tesla now, and it's completely automated.
Yep. Right. But that's some of the technology that I think is so far out. It's not 10, 20 years. It's like we're not going to see that till the end of our lifetime.
Really? I think we're going to see it in a decade.
I don't think it's going to be adopted. I think the technology will exist in a decade, maybe, but it's not going to be adopted in a decade. I don't see current 40, 50-year-olds even 30-year-olds trusting to get into a car with no driver.
Dude, so I was in Vegas and they offered, Lyft offered me a car without a driver. It was an autonomous car.
Really?
Yeah, they're
Really?
like, "Do you want to try this out?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to try this out."
Exactly.
But this was last year. This was last year. In 10 years, I would give it a shot, especially if they've done testing. Like Tesla's about to release full self-driving to their best drivers. Like 10 years is a lot. Like that's so much time in the tech world.
Yeah, I agree.
I might be there in 5 years.
Yeah. I think the technology will be there. I think societally, to as an entire nation accept it and make the legislative changes that are required. Just always keep in mind, making changes to the law, it takes forever.
Yes.
So seeing those changes, I see being the biggest holdup. Not the technology. I do think the technology is going to be there, but I just think having the older generation accept it and bring it in, legislature, I think that's going to be the biggest holdup.
Yeah, and I think the same holdup goes with blockchain and NFTs and all
too.
that stuff. I mean, the technology is coming here really quickly, but the adoption is going to take, I would say, at least a decade for everyone to get on board with digital assets and digital money and all that. So it just takes a long time to adopt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but time will tell. As far as, bringing it back to Tesla's valuation, who knows? Like, nobody knows right now. That's why we always say, instead of, worrying about buying a single company, just buy them all. S&P 500 index fund.
Yeah. And I'm sure it is. I think we all agree it's 100% overvalued for its current state.
Yes.
But I think it's valued into the future, which it could, I think it could be worth a lot more. Because the way I see it is like, everyone having a Tesla, autonomous cars, basically overtaking Uber. I see them Tesla solar. Have you seen their solar roofs?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can literally have a roof that's 100% solar, and it looks nice too. It's not like these ugly solar panels.
Yeah.
So, and they last 300. Their batteries last 300 to 500,000 miles. They're making a million mile battery. So it's like, come on, like if they make a 1,000,000 mile battery, that could make it a lot more affordable itself, right? Because now if you could buy a used Tesla 5 years old and it still has 300,000 miles to go, 500,000 miles to go, and so I don't know. So people are going to finance Teslas, I think, over 10 years. I think we talked about that in a previous episode. I think there's going to be 10-year car loans, maybe 15 in the future, because these cars are going to last so long.
Yeah. And I think electric vehicles are going to maintain it's not going to be like, or at least I would hope not like current combustion engine vehicles, where the minute you drive it off the lot, you lose like almost half the value. I think electric vehicles will probably hold their value better. And I think it seems like they have generally so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I guess who knows what the future of tech in general, specifically, we talked a lot about Tesla, the metaverse, everything. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming. I feel like we kind of got to this point where, smartphones were the biggest thing, and then everything started to plateau. Like smartphones kind of reach this point where they don't get much better, people stopped upgrading every year, and now we're looking forward to the next big thing, and it's metaverse, self-driving vehicles, 5G, which we haven't even talked about this episode, but we have in previous episodes. So if you want to hear a little bit more about 5G, feel free to listen back to those. Anything else, guys, for this episode?
No, I think I'm just excited to see what comes in the future, and I encourage everyone to embrace the future as well. So, changes are coming, but it takes everyone to kind of adopt it at the same time. So,
well said. The technology can be there, but if it's not embraced by everyone, it's not going to be adopted. So, but I think that about wraps us up for this episode. A lot of great content on technology. As always, we are the Simple Money Guys, making money simple for you. I'm Greg, also known as the Daily Investor.
My name's John at Johnny Finance.
And I'm Ryan, the Money CEO on social. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next episode.
Thank you everybody for listening. As always, give us a follow on Instagram at The Simple Money Guys, subscribe to us on YouTube, and be sure to tune in because we have new episodes coming every week.